Hello, and welcome to this presentation, Understanding GMRS. In this presentation, we'll provide a short technical introduction to GMRS, that is the General Mobile Radio Service, including a brief discussion of how GMRS radios can be tested using a radio test set. GMRS is one of several two-way radio services widely used in the United States. In this presentation, we'll occasionally compare GMRS to both FRS, the Family Radio Service, as well as to MRS, the Multi-Use Radio Service. Separate presentations are available if you're interested in learning more about either of these two radio services. GMRS, or the General Mobile Radio Service, is a licensed short to medium distance voice and data service in the United States, and it uses UHF frequencies in the 460 MHz range. GMRS transceivers can be handheld or portable, mobile or vehicle-mounted units, or base stations. Note that unlike FRS, the Family Radio Service, GMRS transceivers are allowed to have removable antennas. Although GMRS is almost always used for carrying analog FM voice, the service was expanded in 2017 to allow short data transmissions, such as exchanging position reports, short text messages, etc. GMRS shares frequencies with FRS, but differs from FRS in that it allows both higher powers and also allows the use of repeaters to extend range. In the remainder of this presentation, we'll go into more technical detail about GMRS and how it is both used and tested. Let's start by looking at frequencies. There are 22 designated UHF frequencies or channels for simplex GMRS communications. These channels can be organized into three groups, each with a different maximum power level. Channels 1 through 7 allow up to 5 watts, whereas only half a watt is allowed on channels 8 through 14. Channels 15 through 22 allow the use of up to 50 watts, in part because these are also repeater output frequencies. We'll discuss repeaters in more detail shortly. As mentioned earlier, these channels are shared with FRS, but please note that the maximum power is different for these services on some channels. Another difference between FRS and GMRS is that GMRS radios can operate with different FM deviations or channel widths. Of the two, only GMRS can use the wide or wideband operating mode, in which there's an FM deviation of 5 kHz and a channel width of 25 kHz. This wideband mode may be used on channels 1 through 7 and 15 through 22, as well as on the 8 repeater output channels. The narrow or narrowband mode can be used by both GMRS and FRS. This is a 12.5 kHz channel with 2.5 kHz deviation, and this mode must be used on channels 8 through 14. When GMRS radios are communicating with FRS radios, narrowband deviation should be used, since FRS radios may not use the wideband deviation. If there is a mismatch between wideband and narrowband, this can lead to either loud/distorted audio or to audio that's abnormally quiet or muted. Let's return to the topic of repeaters. Repeaters are used to extend communications range and may be either fixed or portable systems. Repeaters extend range by receiving a signal on one frequency, the input frequency, and retransmitting it at a higher power on a different output frequency. GMRS repeater operation is only allowed on the 8 designated frequency pairs shown here, but note that the output channels may be used for simplex or non-repeater operation as well. Maximum GMRS repeater power is limited to 50 watts. Although not a requirement, most repeaters operate in wideband mode. Due to the high spectrum occupancy in some areas, the use of subaudible tones, CTCSS or DCS, is encouraged. These prevent the repeater from being activated or opened unless this tone is present. Unlike FRS and MRS, GMRS requires a license and call sign issued by the FCC. This can be obtained online through the FCC's website. A small fee is required, but no knowledge or practical test is needed. Licenses are valid for a period of 10 years. Licenses are only granted to individuals, although some businesses and other organizations can continue to use the GMRS licenses they received prior to this rule change. The individual license also extends to other family members, although the regulations are not specific about what constitutes a family member. One reason for issuing call signs is that these are supposed to be periodically used for identification, although in practice call signs are rarely heard, except in the case of repeater users. 47 CFR Part 95 Subpart E contains the licensing and other rules and regulations regarding GMRS. One interesting point is that GMRS can be used for business or commercial activity, but only when the communicating parties are all licensed as individuals. Another interesting point is that unlike FRS, where antennas must be fixed, GMRS transceivers are allowed to have removable antennas. This facilitates the use of GMRS in vehicle or base station applications, and is of course important for repeater operation. It should, however, be noted that some restrictions on antenna height do exist. And while the use of repeaters is allowed, these repeaters cannot be interconnected over the telephone network. This is intended to prevent the linking of multiple repeaters into a single larger area repeater. All radios used in GMRS must also be formally certified by the FCC. That is, a radio may not transmit on any GMRS frequencies unless that radio has been certified for use in GMRS. This means that amateur radios with a wide transmit range may not be legally used to transmit on GMRS frequencies. Furthermore, in the past, the FCC did certify some radios that were dual service and could be used for both GMRS and FRS. However, the FCC now prohibits the sale of radios that can operate as both GMRS radios and as other service radios, and any radios formerly certified for dual use had to be reclassified for one service or the other. 47 CFR Part 95 Subpart E also contains technical requirements for radios to be certified for use in GMRS. These include power limits, frequency accuracy, occupied bandwidth, maximum deviation, spurious emissions, etc. Most of these parameters can be measured or tested using a special instrument called a radio test set. Recall that unlike FRS, GMRS radios usually have a removable antenna, making it easy to attach the radio to the radio test set. In addition to tests required for certification, radio test sets can also perform additional troubleshooting and performance tests, such as measuring audio quality, tone functions, squelch, sensitivity, etc. Let's end with a brief summary. The General Mobile Radio Service, or GMRS, is a licensed two-way, short-range UHF communications service. New licenses are available only to individuals, and a call sign is assigned with the license as well. Almost all GMRS communication is in the form of analog FM voice, but short data transmissions are also allowed. GMRS transceivers may be small handheld radios, mobile transceivers and/or base units, and the use of repeaters is also authorized. Frequencies are selected from a list of defined channels, and the radio output power is a function of which channel is selected. Note that these channels are also shared with FRS radios, allowing communication between the users of these two services. And finally, radio test sets can be used to test GMRS radios, both for certification as well as for performance testing and troubleshooting. This concludes our presentation, Understanding GMRS. If you'd like to learn more about other two-way radio services, radio testing, or radio test sets from Rohde & Schwartz, please see the links in the video description. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit us at rohde-schwartz.com.